Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing very well. In today's video I'm going to be teaching you how to make this really cute cherry cardigan. So to make this cardigan you're going to need your main colour yarn, and I'll have it up on screen how many grams I ended up using altogether. You're going to need some measuring tape. I'm using a 6.5 and a 6mm hook. You'll need a embroidery needle and scissors, some red double knit yarn and some green double knit yarn, or you could even do like pink cherries, just your cherry colour and then the cherry leaf colour. So you're going to need to take your measurements for this cardigan. So for me personally, I took my tight waist measurement, which basically means that I just put the measuring tape around my waist and pulled tight so I could see like exactly how the length of the circumference of my waist was, which was 29 inches. But obviously I didn't want it to be like tight to my waist, so I wanted it a bit more oversized, so I added a few more inches. And as you can see in the second picture, that is me measuring a bit more looser, and so I decided to go with 34 inches circumference of the waist. So your back panel measurement is going to be the circumference of your waist divided by 2. So for me that was 17 inches, and then once you have that, you're going to measure your front panel measurement, which is the back panel measurement divided by 2. So for me that is 8.5 inches. I then decided to minus 1 inch for a little gap in the middle. You don't have to do this. If you want to skip this option, then it's just back panel divided by 2. But for me, I minused an inch, so in total, each front panel would be 7.5 inches width. So to get the height of your cardigan, you're going to want to measure from the top of your shoulder all the way down, and just stop when you want your cardigan to end. So for me, I wanted mine to be 17 inches. Obviously, I also have some frills at the hem of my cardigan, so I wanted to take that into account. So I only wanted my frills to be about 2 inches in height. Which means that the height of my front panels are going to be 15 inches, because obviously 15 plus 2 is 17, and that's the height that I wanted my cardigan to be. You then want to take the measurement of the circumference of around the top of your arm. So for me this was 13 inches, which isn't my measurement when it's tightened around my arm, but it is the measurement that I felt was like a comfortable sleeve. So you can add as many inches as you want depending on how flowy and kind of big you want your sleeves to kind of be. I wanted mine to be kind of loose but not super like oversized, so yeah, I went for 13 inches. And then for the arm length, you want to measure from the top of your shoulder down to your wrist. For me this was 19.5 inches. So here is what the front kind of vest panel looks like. So you start off here at the bottom. I just did like a row of single crochet, and then I did my cherry stitch, and then I did another row of single crochet, and then I did double crochets all the way up until at the point where I wanted the ties to be, and then I just started decreasing on this side only and double crocheting across, and then I just fastened off at the top. But yeah, let's get into how to do this panel. So just to kind of recap, your front two panels are going to be 1/2 of your circumference around like your belly and your waist, but I minused an inch because I just want a little bit of a gap in between each front panel. So for my measurements, I'm going to be making a chain of 26, that is 24 plus 2, one extra one for the double crochet at the end, and then an extra one for the turning chain. So if you don't want to add an extra double crochet at the end, then it will be a multiple of 4 plus 1. However, I just think it looks much more even when you have a double crochet on each end, so that's what I did. So yeah, I'm making a chain of 26. By the way, I'm using my 6.5mm hook to do this first chain. So I've got my 26 chains. I'm now going to swap back to my 6mm hook. This is the hook that I'm going to be using now for the rest of this front panel. So yeah, we're now going to make 1 single crochet into the back bump of the second chain from the hook, and then into each back bump across. So single crochet into each back bump. Okay, so I've just reached the end of the row. I'm now going to chain 2 and turn the work. Also going to now we're going to do the cherry stitch, so I'm going to add my red on a slip knot onto the hook and slide this over the blue. I'm going to kind of keep the blue string tight so you can get it through. Okay, like that. And then you can just drop your blue. You don't need it for the time being. Okay, so it can be a bit confusing, but you basically are kind of doing a chain 2 and then a kind of a chain 3 with the red. So for the cherry stitch, you're going to be making kind of like a puff stitch, so I'll demonstrate that now. So you're going to be working into that second stitch, so not this one here. So you're going to yarn over. I'm also going to weave in these ends, and you also want to carry this blue over as you're doing it. So into the second chain, yarn over, insert the hook into that stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, insert in that same stitch and pull up a loop. So it's 2 loops now. Yarn over, insert, pull up a loop. So that's 3. Yarn over, insert and pull up a loop, and that's 4. So for the first cherry ball, you're going to just yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Not all 3, but all of the loops, like so. Chain 1, and then you're going to skip the next stitch completely, and you're going to do the exact same thing into the next stitch, pulling up a loop 4 times, and you're going to finish that stitch with the blue. So I'm going to yarn over into the next stitch, pull up a loop, 1, yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, 2, 3 and 4. So instead of yarning over and pulling through all the loops with the red, I'm now going to drop the red. I'm going to drop the red basically on this side, facing me, so it's tucked away, and I'm going to pull through all of the loops with the blue, like that. Okay, so that is your first cherry stitch. So it should be a double crochet, which was that chain 2 at the beginning, a cherry, a chain 1 and a skip, and then a cherry, and you finish that cherry off with the blue. So I'm now going to make a double crochet into the next stitch, and we're going to finish this double crochet with the red, because now we're going to start our next cherry. Okay, yarn over and pull up a loop 4 times, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yarn over and pull through all the loops and chain 1. Skip the next stitch and repeat this and finish the stitch with the blue. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Drop the red onto the side facing you, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops with the blue. I keep saying 3, I don't know why. It's not 3 loops, but pull through all of the loops with the blue and then a double crochet to start the next load of stitches. Remember to pull through your double crochet loops with the red. So this will always apply until you get to the end. Obviously there's no stitches left to do, so you just will double crochet with the blue as normal, but every time you do a double crochet you finish it off with the red. So now for the next cherry, I'm going to pull up a loop 4 times and yarn over and pull through all of the loops with the red. 2, 3 and 4. Pull through all the loops, chain 1, skip the next stitch, yarn over and pull up the loop 4 times in the next. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Finish the stitch with the blue and tuck the red on the side facing you. Hold on, I've dropped all of the stitches. Let me redo that. Okay, so you're going to repeat this now until you reach the end, and you should end on a double crochet. Okay, so I've just finished my row of cherries. Again, I ended on a double crochet. So we don't need the red anymore, but I'm just going to weave it in, you know, to the back as I go on to the next row. So the next row is just a single crochet. So I'm going to chain 1, turn the work, and then I'm going to make a single crochet into the stitch directly below it. I'm going to weave that red in as I go for a few stitches, just so that it's tucked away. Okay. I'm going to single crochet into the first cherry and into the chain, and then into that second cherry. Okay, I'm going to continue all the way along, making a single crochet into each stitch. Once you reach the end of the row, I'm just going to make a single crochet into the top of that chain 2. Okay, and that is the end of the row. So I'm now going to make rows of double crochet until I reach the point where I want my vest to start decreasing. So I've done 10 rows of double crochet, and then once I get to the 11th row I'm then going to start decreasing. So I will meet you back once I have done my 10 rows of double crochet. Again, this might be different for you depending on how long you want your vest panels to be. So I'm just going to chain 2, turn the work, and I'm going to be making a double crochet into this second space here, and then into each stitch along. Okay, so I've just finished row 10. I'm now going to start row 11. So for row 11 you're going to chain 2 as normal, and now you're going to be making decreases up until you reach the top of your shoulder, and it's always going to be on this side. So when I lay my panel flat, it's going to be on the right. So yeah, to make a decrease, we just chain 2 again so I can show you. I personally like to do a double crochet together, so I just yarn over, start a double crochet as normal, and then normally here we would yarn over and pull through the 2 loops. I'm now going to yarn over and insert the hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through 2. Now you should have 3 loops on your hook, and now I'm going to yarn over and pull through all 3, and that crochets 2 stitches together. So I'm going to be now crocheting double crochet as normal, chain 2, double crochet as normal all the way back, and once I reach the last 2 spots, so it'll be this stitch and your chain 2 will count as the last 2 double crochets, and you're going to make a decrease there. So I will come back once I've reached that point and I'll show you exactly how to do the decrease once you reach this side again. So I've just reached the last 2 stitches of row 12. As you can see, it's that decrease stitch that we made in the previous row and the chain 2. So I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to start the double crochets normal, but before I yarn over and pull through those 2 loops, I'm going to start the next double crochet. So it's just going to be in that chain 2, yarn over and make that double crochet and pull through the 2 loops until you have 3, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Okay, and that is your decrease. So again, I'm only decreasing on my right side because I want this to go in, like kind of in a diagonal motion over here. So I'm going to keep making decreases. So for every row that I do, I'm going to be making a decrease. I'm going to continue decreasing until I reach row 22. So I will come back once I've reached row 22 and then I will show you the final row. So I've just reached my last row, row 22, and now for the final row, which will be row 23, I'm just going to do a row of single crochet. So I'm just going to chain 1, turn the work, and then make a single crochet in the stitch below, and then in each stitch across. So I am just going to single crochet into each stitch all the way. So I'll meet you back when I've finished. We will fasten off and then we will move on to the next step. So for the back panel, I ended up doing 52 chains. I'm now just going to repeat the exact same process that we started at the front panels. So I'm going to do a row of single crochet in the back bumps, and then I'm going to do a cherry row, and then I'm going to do a row of single crochet again, and then I'm going to double crochet all the way up to the top, meeting the same height as the front panel, and then a row of single crochet. So here is my back panel all finished. So I did the first row of single crochet in the back bump, I then did the cherry row, and then I did another row of single crochet, and then I did 22 rows of double crochet all the way up, and then I'm just going to fasten off now. So I'm just going to chain 1 and cut the yarn. So we're now going to work on the sleeve. So your sleeve measurement will basically be the circumference around your arm, and that was the measurement that you took earlier. So if you wanted a looser kind of sleeve, then you would measure your arm and then you would add a few inches. So that's what I've done. As you can see, it's just rows and rows of double crochet until I reach about here, and then I started to increase. So it's really, really easy. So you just want to make rows of double crochet based on the number of chains that you made at the beginning that fit comfortably around your arm. So let's say you made about 40 chains for your sleeve. You would just do rows and rows and rows of double crochet until you reach about kind of the middle, so about here, and then you want your sleeve to flare out nicely. So you can have your sleeve to start flaring out like about your elbow, or you could do it a bit further down. This is all just preference, but I did mine sort of about here. So again, I will put up a measurement on screen of what I did from my shoulder to where I want the sleeve to start flaring out. So for my sleeve, I ended up doing a chain of 44 plus 1 for that turning chain. So I'm just going to make my slip knot, and I'm I'm going to chain with my larger hook, a chain of 45. Once you have your chain of 45, I'm now going to make a single crochet into the second back bump and then into each back bump across the row. So once you have finished making your single crochets, I'm just going to chain 2 and then make a double crochet into that second stitch and then a double crochet into each stitch across. So I'm going to keep making double crochets until I reach row 25. So that is, by the way, 25. Row 25 is not including the single crochet, so it technically is row 26, but I'm not including the single crochet in this because you can barely see it, so it's just much easier to count your double crochet rows. So yeah, I'm going to do 25 rows of double crochet and then I will come back and I will show you how to do the increase row. So I've just finished my 25 rows of double crochet and I'm now going to start the increase row. So I'm going to chain 2, turn the work, I'm going to make a double crochet in the stitch directly that we've just made that chain 2, so right here, and that is an increase, and then I'm going to double crochet all the way into roughly the middle, and then I'm going to make an increase there as well. So I had 44 stitches in total across the row, so I'm going to be increasing in the 22nd stitch. So I've just done 21 double crochets and I'm now going to make an increase into that 22nd stitch. Now I'm going to double crochet across the end of the row, and then once I reach this chain 2 space, I'm going to make an increase in that chain 2 space. So I've just made an increase in that chain 2 space, and I'm now going to start the next row, which is row 27. I'm going to chain 2, turn the work, and I'm just going to make a double crochet into each stitch. So where you have your increase here, I'm not going to make a double crochet in that first one, I'm going to make it in the second one as we would normally do a normal row, and then I'm just going to double crochet across. So once I finish the end of this row and I start row 28, I'm going to make an increase row. So I'll be making an increase at each end and also in the middle, and then a normal row, and I'm going to alternate a increase row and a normal row until I get to row 33, and row 33 should end on a normal row. So I've just finished my last row of double crochet, and for the final row, which is row 34, I'm going to make a row of single crochet. So I'm going to chain 1, turn the work, and I'm going to make a single crochet directly below, and then I'm going to make a single crochet into each stitch across, and then I will fasten off, and that is your sleeve all done. Make sure that when you're fastening off you leave a long tail for sewing for your sleeves, because I am personally going to be sewing my sleeves. You don't have to, you could do a single crochet or a slip stitch to attach your sleeves if you prefer, but because I'm sewing I'm going to be leaving a long tail. So as you can see in this photo, here is how I laid out all of my panels. You want to make sure that you're laying out your panels the wrong way up, and as you can see, either side is the sleeves. You want to also make sure that your flares are not at the shoulder, you want to make sure that they are at the other end, and your back panel and your waistcoat front kind of panels are joined together. You also want to make sure that the sleeves are directly connecting in the center to the side of the shoulders, so you want to make sure that those are both central. And I also added some stitch markers just to hold everything in place. So yeah, so I'm just going to show you how I'm going to attach each part of the kind of front of the cardigan to the back panel, and if you looked at the picture before, you'll see that everything is facing the wrong side. So here is the wrong side, and then technically when flipped back this will be on the right side, if that makes sense. So you want your wrong sides facing the outside. So this is the wrong side and this is the wrong side. So you just want to line up your first panel to the edge of your back panel, and I've just taken some long piece of yarn and I've made a knot at one end, and I've got my tapestry needle, and I'm just going to attach the first part to kind of a section in the corner of the front panel. So you kind of want to grab a few fibres like in between, because that way then your knot is actually going to stay there. If your knot isn't particularly very big, because we've got these kind of more mesh open stitches, it's quite hard for, you know, the knot to hold there. So if you put it through a few fibres, it should hold there, and just gently pull until it's all the way through. And then you can just go through a few areas of the front panel corner just to make sure that it's secure and it's not going anywhere. So again, you want to line up the stitches. We're going to do a mattress stitch. So the mattress stitch, basically it's kind of like working in a snake motion. So obviously we'll be starting here. Please ignore these short tails because we're going to be weaving them in later on. So the mattress stitch consists of a motion of going if you're starting in the corner, you will go down one, and then you'll go across one, and then you'll go back up, and then you'll go across, down, across, up. So it's kind of like that snake kind of motion. I hope that makes sense. So we're starting in this corner, and we're going to go straight down and pull through. We're then going to be going across, and I'm going into the front loops only of these. So back up and across, pull through, and then across, pick up a loop and pick up the loop directly below it and pull through. And once you do a couple, you just want to kind of pull tight so that it's secure. We're now going to go across and up, see, and pull through, and then to the next one and the one directly below it, and then pull through. So I'm just going to continue this all the way along, and then I'm just going to sew in a few areas and make a knot, and then that will be that part all attached. That is the front panels attached, and I'm just going to go back into that stitch, and I'm going to make a double knot. So I'm basically not pulling through all the way, leaving a loop, and then going straight through that loop, and then pulling to make a knot. I'm going to pull tight, and then I'm going to do the exact same thing in that same spot. To make a double knot. I'm just going to cut the yarn right there, and then that is the first part all attached. As you can see, it's nice and neat, and the reason why I prefer doing this to like a single crochet or a slip stitch is because with the slip stitch it gets really tight, and it can sometimes change the kind of measurements. It kind of cinches it in a lot, and the single crochet I find is a little bit bulky on the shoulder. This is nice and flat, it doesn't give you any weird like bumps, and it just looks really seamless. So
You're just going to want to repeat this now for the other front panel on the opposite side, and then I will come back and I will show you how we will attach the sleeves.
So after you've sewn the back panels and the front panels, you want to make sure that all of your panels are still on the wrong side up, including the sleeves, and you just want to do the exact same thing with the mattress stitch. So I sewed from the corner of the sleeve all the way up the arm, and then once I reached that corner I sewed all the way down the front panel side with the mattress stitch. So I basically just did it in one go. As you can see, it's on screen. I showed you the direction that I went in to do the mattress stitch, and yeah, that's basically how you sew the sleeve. It's the exact same process.
So I've now sewn all of my panels together, and I'm now going to be sewing the cherry leaves on, the cherry stems. So basically I'm going to be working from left to right. If you prefer to work from right to left you can, but I think it's easier when you've got like the cherries facing you, so I'm going to go from left to right. So I'm just going to grab, I've got my needle and I've got my green yarn, and I've just tied a knot at the end, and the stitch basically works that you come from the back, pull through to the front, you then make a stem, you then make another stem and go back into the middle, and then another stem and go back into the middle, and then you work across. So it sounds a bit confusing, but don't worry, I'll work through it slowly. So I'm going to go into this part of the cherry, so this like space here, from the back to the front, and pull through that, and then I'm going to kind of find the space in the middle where the leaf can kind of go up. So I'm going to go right here where that double crochet is, but not through the like post of the double crochet, actually through like the fibers right there. So I'm going to pull through gently, because you don't want your end to come all the way through. Okay, you're going to repeat that now on the other side, the other cherry, through that space, and then across to that exact same spot, like that. You have your cherry stem there. Now I'm going to do this again, so I'm going to go back through, so your yarn should be in the center, and I'm going to go back through that same spot, pull through, and then back into the center, and then repeat on this side, so in the corner, and then up into the center. Now it's completely up to you. You can do this as many times as you need to kind of build up that thickness. I'm going to do this once more. Okay, so that's what the cherry should be looking like. So once you've finished your stems of your first cherry, you're just going to sew across through the double crochet at the back, pull through, okay, and then you can just go through another section like that. So I'm not going through like directly through that, I'm kind of going in the middle of that blue part, just so that it stays hidden. You want to work your way across to this section here, so you might have to sew a couple of times. Okay, so it stays nice and hidden. When you turn it over, you can't see any of that green thread that's going across the back. So I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to insert my needle into the next cherry, the left cherry, and then I'm going to bring it across into that kind of center of that double crochet, like so, and then I'm going to repeat that over here. And then go back in the middle. And I'm going to repeat this about 2 more times. Okay, so here is what the cherry stems are looking like. I'm going to continue this all the way along all of my panels, and if you run out of yarn, that's fine. You can just kind of tie a knot on the inside and then keep going. So yeah, I will come back when all of my stems are sewn on. So here is my cherries all finished. I'm now going to make the frills along the edge. So you just want to take your 6mm hook and your yarn, make a slip knot. I'm just going to join the slip knot that we've made in this corner. And then I'm going to chain 2. And so for the frills, you're basically going to be doing alternating rows of an increase row and then a normal row, kind of like we've done previously. So you can do whatever you want. You could do an increase in each stitch, you could do an increase in every other stitch, but I'm going to do an increase in every second stitch. So I'm going to chain 2, I'm going to make a double crochet into the next stitch. I'm going to weave in this end as well. Okay, and then I'm going to increase into the next stitch. So 2 double crochet. And then I'm going to do a double crochet into the next 2 stitches. 1 and 2, and then an increase into the next stitch. Okay, so I'm going to repeat this all the way across the row. So 1, 1, and then 2, 1, 1, and then 2, all the way across. So I've just reached the end of my row. I've done 2 double crochets and then an increase in each stitch. And for the next row, it's just going to be a normal row. So I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to double crochet into that second stitch, and then I'm going to double crochet into each stitch across the row. So I've just finished row 2 of a normal row. As you can see, we're kind of getting this soft ruffle around the bottom of the cardigan. So I'm now going to be alternating an increasing row and then a normal row, and I'll let you know how many rows I ended up doing. But depending on how long you want your cardigan to be, and how many frills you want, then that will determine how many rows you do. So yeah, I will come back and let you know how many rows I end up doing. So in total, I ended up doing just 3 rows. I ended on an increasing row. Now I'm going to basically continue just with a single crochet all the way around the edges. So as you can see here, this is one side, this is the side of the front panel. I'm going to single crochet all the way up, and then I'm going to single crochet all around the shoulder and then the neck, and then I'm going to single crochet all the way back down to the other side, and I'm going to end on the other side here with a single crochet. The final step, I just made a chain of 100 for the ties in the middle of the cardigan, and I did this with a 3.5mm hook just because I didn't want the chain to be like really open loops, so I wanted like a small loop chain. So yeah, 100 chains I did, but you can obviously alter this if you want a longer ribbon, but yeah, this was a good amount for my personal preference. I'm just going to hook the ribbon that I've made through to the point where we started decreasing. That is the cardigan all finished. I'm going to go and try it on now and show you the final result.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving this video a thumbs up and subscribing, and if you have any ideas of what you'd like me to make next, then feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.